this was a subject of conversation that I thought was very interesting on Facebook at the Art of Partimento, which was a very good question. And there was a teacher who was asking about, we have this ABRSM. It's very popular around the world, where you take these graded exams 1 to 8, and we're not talking about university now. We're talking about really K through 12, essentially, where
Yeah, I
or
know.
primary 1 to junior college, secondary school. And this is, and I can speak for all these, for Singapore and a lot of the former British colonies. This is pretty much this, and Trinity and RCM, and they all have these exams, and it's pretty much the standard sort of performance based curriculum where you memorize 3 pieces, you play them, you get a distinction or a merit, or pass or fail. There's a little 5 or 10% sight reading component. There's a little ear training component, but really, that's what essentially dominates testing for young children. And then they go to university, and it's a whole different ballgame, or it might be even just a continuation if they're in a performance major. And somebody asked, why not we have some sort of Partimento-like testing? And just for myself, I think testing is wonderful. I don't like the current way it's just performance based. It would be kind of cool. I just think there's not enough teachers to really do the qualified testing. That's the big drawback. But if there were more teachers and there was some sort of standardization, it would be cool. Here, do book 2, enrollee number 3. Can you do it? It's like a driving test. You can't do it, you fail. It's so simple. You can do it. If it's correct, you pass. You do a really good realization, it's a distinction. I like that idea because it's kind of it's a little bit more mainstream. But a lot of people were actually down on the idea. They did not like testing because, or they did not like this idea of it, and they were talking about the many pitfalls. I really sympathize with the person asking the question, of course, because it would be great if, because all these moms who take their lessons, they want to see their certificate, they want to see the distinction, they don't care about all this high idealism, they don't care about it. So what do you think, Professor Yerdigan? What do you think about testing for primary to secondary?
It's a big moneymaker for the ABRSM. I can see myself getting $20 for every gold star I stamp on a on video. Uh, no, it's a really interesting idea. The problem, it would be like doing the same thing in jazz. It's who's going to judge,
Hmm.
because there are different schools of this sort of thing. There's the Basel Schola Cantorum
Hmm.
group. There's the Amsterdam group. They're the Italians, and they don't all do this stuff quite the same.
Hmm.
I mean, it's an interesting idea, and
Because what we have now is no good. We need something different.
no, I know. Alma Deutscher was an early Partimento player, and both on the keyboard and on violin. And she, a couple of years ago now, I guess, she enrolled in the conducting program at the University of the Arts in Vienna, the former Hochschule. And there was an entrance exam in music analysis. And they said, well, you can do Roman numerals or Schenkerian analysis. And she said, well, I don't do any of that stuff. I do Yerdigan schemas. And they said, oh, okay, well, go ahead. She's a star there now. So,
Well, I'm glad they allowed her to do the different way of analysis.
yes, yes. I mean, now she's a special case.
Mhm.
She's a person of amazing
Yeah,
ability,
amazing talent. Yeah.
amazing talent. But no, it's an interesting idea. I think we're probably not at a stage where there's official versions of some of these things. I think it got rather like that in the early 19th century in Naples. Uh,
Mhm.
I've looked at realizations of usually book 5 or 6 Fenaroli Partimenti by different Italian students at that time. They are so similar.
Mm.
I mean, I wonder if they didn't have cheat sheets, that they would circulate like the official realizations, and then they would
Go
just
see
memorize.
Giovanni around the back corner. He'll give you the mock
Yeah,
exam answers.
but it was the case that um, at the Paris Conservatory at the time of Claude Debussy and Maurice Ravel, there were two harmony classes. And the first was what we might call keyboard harmony. And some of the teachers, some of the masters, and some of the students referred to this as Partimento playing. They actually used the word Partimento, even though it had become archaic by that time. And one of Debussy's classmates mentioned that he got a first prize in Partimento, which is really surprising. This is in the 1880s, 1870s. But the second class, which was called just harmony, was really four-part contrapuntal writing on given basses or melodies. But this first class, this applied harmony at the keyboard, that was graded. So they set a bass or a melody before the student, and the student played. They were figured, if the basses were figured somewhat. But then they were graded. But of course, the advantage is presumably the jury, did lots of students year after year, and so they probably were consistent. It would be hard to, just as a practical matter, it's hard to get consistent grading of things like that. But it's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, I mean, if they had an academic fugue, why not you have academic Partimento? I know people will be horrified at that because they all want endless idealistic creativity all the time. But I mean, just get the basics down and then just do it well. I mean, like, come on, if a grade 8 meant that somebody could do Fenaroli book 3 or 4, the Movimento book, and that's a good thing. That's great if somebody can give a stock valid solution. That's you could have cheat sheets. I mean, probably what would happen is there'd be like 30 realizations of the same Partimento, but that's a good thing if someone memorizes 30 rows. That's like you're down as a child, you're downloading all these realizations. It's more information. How can that be a bad thing?
There's some sense that understanding something means to be able to respond appropriately. Okay. And especially for nonverbal things. If someone goes, and then the next person goes, I think we could agree that that person understood the first person, right?
Yeah.
And, when some of these child prodigies do this, it is kind of astounding. They are hearing a lot. They really are, and it's a nonverbal understanding, but it's an understanding all the same. And maybe in music, it's more important kind of understanding. I'm always impressed that people can do that kind of thing. But it would be wonderful, if only we could get children
more teachers. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I mean, the trick is to start with children because they don't know it's difficult. They just learn it so quickly and so well.